We've all been there. You're just scrolling, business as usual, and then it hits you. That friend or that colleague you follow, they've just vanished. No big goodbye post, not even a hint. Poof, they're gone. And it makes you wonder, right? Why do people just disappear like that? It's kind of a modern mystery, isn't it? Did they get fed up? Are they trying to hide from something? Well, the real reasons are usually way deeper and honestly a lot more interesting than you'd probably guess. The immediate assumption or gut reaction is that they must be antisocial or maybe just retreating from the world. But the reality? It's often the exact opposite. It's not a retreat at all. It's what you could call a quiet psychological evolution. It's actually a sign of growth. So, how does an evolution like that even start? Well, it often kicks off by escaping something called the validation loop. This is the real catalyst for the whole journey. Think about it. Social media platforms are basically masterclasses in engineering around a core human need: external validation. Every single like, every share, every comment, it's a tiny little dopamine hit that whispers in your ear, hey, you're seen, you're approved of. We get wired to source our self-worth from other people's attention. And here's the crucial first step for the people who leave. Their own sense of self-worth has outgrown the need for all that digital applause. They've spent time building an internal foundation of value that just doesn't need a constant stream of likes to stay standing. In a way, they've literally outgrown the system. But outgrowing the need for validation is just one piece of this puzzle. There's another huge piece at play here. What is the real day in, day out cost of being constantly plugged into that world? Okay, think of your brain power for the day as a finite resource. Psychologists call it your cognitive bandwidth. Now look at this. A massive chunk of that bandwidth, sometimes as much as 60%, is just eaten up by social media noise. That leaves so little for the stuff that actually matters. Deep, focused work, real-world connections, or actual personal growth. The people who leave just look at this trade-off and decide, nope, this isn't worth it anymore. And having that realization, that aha moment about where their energy is going, it leads them right into the next stage of their evolution. A very conscious, very deliberate decision to reclaim their own mind from systems designed to hold it hostage. And they do this by actively pushing back against all that digital conditioning. It's kind of like a three-step process. First off, they acknowledge that the algorithm isn't their friend. It's designed to manipulate them and just keep them scrolling. Second, they start to seriously question why they're consuming what they're consuming. Is this actually valuable, or is it just junk food for the brain? And finally, they choose to be intentional with their focus, instead of letting a feed decide what they should care about. And somewhere in that process, they discover something really profound. They find that privacy feels way more powerful than attention. That quiet satisfaction of just living your life without having to stage it, document it, and perform it for an audience, it becomes so much more valuable than the quick, fleeting rush of being seen by everybody. So, what happens with all that reclaimed time and mental energy? This is where a huge fundamental shift happens. They go from being a passive consumer to being an active creator in their own life. See, they're breaking free from what we can call the consumption loop. This is that passive, draining vortex of endless scrolling, constantly comparing your behind the scenes to everyone else's highlight reel, and just reacting to things. It totally depletes your mental energy and gives you almost nothing real in return. Now contrast that with the creation loop they start to move toward. Instead of scrolling, they're actually learning a skill like an instrument or a language. Instead of just comparing, they're building real face-to-face connections. They're creating things, maybe a business, maybe a garden, maybe just a piece of art. In this process, it doesn't drain energy, it actually generates it. And the cumulative effect of all these changes, escaping the validation game, reclaiming their mind, becoming a creator, it all leads to the ultimate payoff of this journey, a really profound sense of inner peace. This is what's often described as psychological detachment. Now, I know that can sound a little negative, but it's not about being apathetic or shutting yourself off from the world. Not at all. It's about achieving freedom from the constant noise, the endless outrage cycles, and the pressure to perform that you find in the digital echo chamber. It's what mental clarity actually feels like. So, when we see someone disappear online, we have to realize it's probably not an act of anger or isolation. It's just the final, visible step of a much longer, quieter, internal evolution. This whole shift really leads to a new philosophy, one that's perfectly captured by this idea. The ultimate freedom isn't about being seen by everyone, but about seeing your own life with total clarity. The goal is no longer about getting validation from the crowd, but about seeing your own path and your own happiness clearly, away from all that noise. Your attention is the single most valuable currency you have in the 21st century. It's a finite resource. You only get so much of it each day. So the simple but incredibly powerful question this all leaves us with is, where are you investing yours?